Hey, welcome guys. We've got Jack Hudson here. We're doing our video portion of the podcast.
Yeah.
And basically we're just going to check out his board because Jack builds boards for obviously himself, clients, corporate clients,
Yeah.
and all that kind of thing. So we're just kind of seeing what he has for himself because you know when you build boards for other people, you kind of learn stuff, I guess, along the way.
Yeah. It's a bit of an experience, and it's also a little bit overwhelming just how much stuff can come through the workshop in like 1 week.
Yeah,
You know, sometimes I'll have like 250 pedals hanging
Holy
out
moly.
because they're just, it's like half of your collection.
Yeah,
But yeah, they're just hanging out. And
I do have a problem.
well, we've all got a problem. We're making a video about our problem.
That's
This is actually therapy. This is
Yeah, group therapy. But yeah, and you see what's popular. You see some people that they'll just see a concept, and for them that just makes the most sense.
Yeah, sure.
You know, like you see a lot of people with the 3 like larger Strymon pedals, and for them they just go,
yeah.
that's how it's gonna be. Or
Yeah.
other guys that like the Eventide thing, and they've got 3 H9s and a switcher, and you see some other guys that have got 4 pedals, and they couldn't be happier.
Yeah, we've kind of discovered this through doing these videos where like both Gabor and I have different ways to get into the same result.
Yeah.
Sonically.
My way is always the better way, of course.
Yeah.
The more pedals way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The much better way.
Like especially with just say overdrives. Like
Yeah.
you might get like using a compressor or a boost into a drive or a distortion into a lower gain drive or something.
Yeah.
Different ways, but you end up with the same sort of similar sounds. But what makes sense to you and
Totally.
your brain bone.
It's kind of like,
Rainbow.
I think if you start with like a favourite thing, you know, you work out one day that I like tube screamers, and
That's what it is.
that's what it is. But then everything's based around that tube screamer. Like at the end of the day, that's a mid gain kind of mid pokey overdrive. So if you want to make that sound bigger, you're gonna have to put something bigger after it, because it's just gonna compress if you put something into it. And I think it goes from there. So like I used to think that you had to stack smaller sounds into bigger sounds, so that was my thinking. But now I've actually got kind of both happening, and realised that like I use the Jan Ray a lot, and it's a pretty big sound. It does have like a bit of a mid hum. But you know, I actually have to use a bigger sound even still after it if I want to make it, say, like a full range lead or, you know, heavy rhythm gain sound. And it took a while to get there.
Okay. Do you want to take us through your board?
Yeah.
Just like a quick overview of like maybe the signal chain?
Totally. So it is a little simpler than it looks. Basically, the guitar goes straight into the volume pedal. The volume pedal goes into the VFE Minimu Auto Wah. And then we go into the RJM PBC looper. We've got the Cali 76. That's just a standard one. I really like it. And yes, it's really big, but it sounds great. And it's actually in the loop of the little One Control Mesquite blender, so I can get some parallel compression sounds if I want.
Oh yeah, because you can get, there's a version of it that has parallel compression.
That is the unobtainable holy grail.
Chris has got that one, hasn't he?
Chris has got that one.
Pretty
My
cool.
friend Roger's got that one. I was offered one when they came out, and I was like, no, I'll wait for the smaller one, and now here we are, and I still don't have one.
But it's, I mean, that's just a same thing in a slightly cheaper version.
Maybe it doesn't. I don't have the boost, and you know, some nights I can't
is it a
sleep.
germanium or something?
Yeah, it's a
germanium
boost. It's really fun and fancy, and but it's okay. I really like this one. And then I've got
sore spot. Let's leave it.
Yeah, it is a sore spot. Then I've got the Vibe Machine in loop 2. It's really fun. I use it for Univibe sounds and like standard vibrato sounds. It nails that. The Empress Phaser. It's probably my favourite phaser because it kind of does all of them and some things on its own, like envelope phasing.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then the Vemiram Shanks, so that's the Shanks 2.
That's fairly new, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a silicon fuzz.
Can you explain, I'm not familiar on each of those models.
Oh, cool.
So I don't. Is the Shanks like a fuzzy type thing?
Yeah, so the Shanks is a fuzz pedal that John Shanks developed with Vemuram quite a while ago, and now he has an overdrive that's also called the Shanks Overdrive. You know, it's like the next one in the line. But they started out as sort of like fuzz face style pedals in a small box and, you know, the vintage vibe. But this one is supposedly a silicon style fuzz face.
Gimbal issues, sorry.
That's okay.
Practice is the best of us, mate. Don't be embarrassed.
It's alright, we'll get through.
It never happens, I promise. It's the first time ever.
I was in the pool.
It's winter.
So this is like a silicon fuzz face with part of a tone bender circuit in it as well. But what they did focus on was some silicon fuzz faces can be really harsh, really like pokey in the top. So they've sort of gotten rid of that issue, and it's now a really fun kind of silicon fuzz face. They do make a germanium version, and I really want to get that as well because, you know, they're all different. Got to have them all. And you can actually bias them yourself. And I've got this one biased so that it sounds a little bit spitty, and on certain notes you kind of get like a lower, almost uncontrollable octave coming out of it.
Cool, yeah.
And then that runs into the Jan Ray, so that's loop 5 is the Jan Ray, and the idea is that you can be running on like a fuzz facey sound, and then you can boost it with the Jan Ray, and it like pushes you out into the mix.
Yeah.
And I did steal that from Joey Landreth and Ariel Posen.
It's alright.
But it sounds awesome. And
We
I
won't
can
tell
sound half as good as them or a quarter as good.
What do they know about guitar?
Yeah.
Not much. Too busy playing with orchestras. But then the RC booster at the end. And that is just the straight up RC1. I use it as a volume boost sometimes. Other times I use it for like a light overdrive. But the best thing is that all three of those pedals stack really well with each other.
Yeah, that was good.
Sorry to interrupt. Are they in the same? They all in one loop?
No, so they're in individual loops, so I can sort of like program up different sounds on the fly.
Can you do different orders with that looper?
No, you can't. But I actually thought about that. No, I actually thought about that before I got it, and I don't think I would change the order of my effects.
Okay.
They work too well in this order for what I do.
Sure.
But what I love about this is the programming. You can plug it into your computer and you can do it in your sleep.
Yeah, I've read a little bit of it.
Nice.
Because it's actually one of the funny things, because I used to boss CS8, and I kind of went, oh, cool, you can change effects order. I've never done it.
I've got some people that do. I've got a bass player who's got essentially like an analog synth board.
Okay.
And he changes the order all the time, and he drops stuff out into parallel, and he literally uses all of the ES5 and more.
Okay.
That's a bit more soundscapey type approach though, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
fair enough if you're doing bass synth.
Yeah.
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 But that's what he does with it. But for me, it's just a really straight up guitar effects pedal board.
Yeah.
And then I guess after the drive section, I hit the Flux Liquid Tremolo.
Which I'm very keen to hear, because I don't think I've ever heard one. Oh, I have at the Signal Chain thing that we went to years ago, but that was years ago. But everyone raves about them, and I love the reverb.
Yeah.
I've never played the tremolo before, so.
Well, I've actually got a special new reverb that Mike and I designed as well.
Oh, wow.
Called the Vibraphonic, and it's sort of like a variation on the Liquid Ambience algorithm.
Yeah.
But we've sort of taken away some of the initial like pre-delays that seem to carry the reverb.
Yeah.
And he's added, on my request, a vibrato modulation.
Oh wow! Into the trails.
Yeah, into the trails.
Cool.
And you can actually, select between I think 6 different waveforms, and just as you change through the waves, that sort of is the depth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So is that something that is just for you? Is it something that maybe
we don't know yet?
Because that sounds cool.
It's really fun. I use it on my acoustic a lot, and it's the greatest thing for my acoustic solo gig.
Great. That sounds really cool.
It's got like a self-oscillate switch, and it just oscillates in this really fun kind of controllable manner.
You had me at self-oscillate.
That's right, we don't sleep, we self-oscillate.
That's exactly right. 'Cause he's got the hey ho.
Don't steal that t-shirt either.
Because he's got a delay coming. That's been in the work for a long time.
It's amazing. It's so this for me is like the holy grail of tap tempo analog delays. So that one's got original MN3005 chips.
Yep.
It's the holy grail.
That's 1100 or whatever it's called.
Yeah, 1100.
1100, yeah.
TT 1100, and he's bringing out something the size of a liquid tremolo or a liquid ambience, and it does more.
Oh wow!
It's pretty special.
I'm very keen to hear
Is
it.
it kind of based around that analog memory man type?
Yeah,
Fine.
so it's completely analog. The whole pedal is obviously like the digital control kind of vibe.
Yep.
But yeah, it is a pretty Memory Man-esque sound. With the tone control, you can probably get it closer to like a DM2 or a DM3.
Okay.
But if you brighten it up, it does have that Memory Man characteristic, and the modulation does sort of do the Memory Man kind of halo thing.
Very interested here because I think I've seen you kind of mention things about it, and I've seen Roger mention things about it.
We had a little meeting quite a while ago, and he brought a prototype over, and we're all sitting there with our heads spinning, going, "Oh, it's finally happened! It's finally happened!"
Because that's been in the making for a long time.
Yeah, it has. He's one of those guys that won't release anything until he's completely happy with it, and if he comes up with a concept at the start, like it will be this big, and it will do these 7 things.
There is no way around it. Okay. Which is good, I guess. That's,
Yeah.
Don't compromise.
Yeah, he doesn't compromise, and his effects are certainly no compromise when you hear them.
No, see, I mean, we met him briefly at the single chain thing, and he seemed like a very scientist sort of guy.
He is. He is actually a bit of a scientist. He's one of those dudes that will go, to a camping shop to look at a chair, and he'll be like, "No, I'll just make it." And then go and buy like a new camping knife. No, I'll just make it.
So the complete opposite of me. Should I make this? Just buy it.
Man. Yeah, he's incredibly talented at what he does. So
yeah. Well, I mean, the amount of people that rave about that tremolo.
Yeah.
And I still think the reverb is one of my favourite reverbs. I really like it.
Yeah. It's definitely an effect, but it's just one of those things that can cover so much ground.
It sounds great, and I've been using it a lot on synths at home, and it sounds awesome.
Oh yeah.
And having it with that extra shimmer thing on it, and it's one of the few shimmers I like.
Yeah.
I don't like too many shimmer reverbs.
No, I think it's got its place.
It's a different sort of shimmer.
Yeah. It's very musical.
Yeah.
That's with all his pedals. Everything's so musical, and the controls, there's only 4 controls really, I guess, and a tap. But you can really zone in and hone in to exactly what you want to get out of it. If this is a clean sound.
a sort of woof to it, like a woof, woof,
Yeah.
woof, like a
Like that swampy kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
everything I want in a tremolo pedal kind of thing.
No, that sounds cool.
Yeah, you've
And
got
that's-
to check out his demos.
And that's what's the extra thing? There's this extra. Oh, it's MIDI and then.
Yeah, so it's got MIDI and it's stereo. It's got MIDI.
Oh, I should do it. Actually, pointed at it while I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm actually yet to fully MIDI it up on this board. I've played with it and it works awesome. I'm just too busy at the moment.
Oh,
to
should I
even
quickly
put it on
mention-
board.
Rather lovely Danocaster as well.
Yeah, this is number one.
Number one. Is that the same one you had?
Yep.
For ages now. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
That's,
it's actually the only electric guitar I have left because I
Oh, really?
only like playing this one.
Okay.
Yeah. I just got to a point and I was like, I only play this guitar.
Yeah.
And I've sold 3 or 4 guitars since and just went
Just
until another one like this kind of pops up. Like, not necessarily a Telly, probably another Danocaster.
Did you? Was it a Jazzmaster or something that you
I
posted a
almost
picture of?
bought
or-
one,
Oh, you almost. Yeah.
but I've got a Strat on the way.
Cool.
So when it gets here,
I'm a Jazzmaster.
I know. I almost bought one, but the neck was a little bit thin for my liking.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a second handy, and
Need a fat neck.
yep, it needs to be like this.
Yeah.
Pretty much my only spec with Danacasters now is that the neck has to be exactly the same as this.
Yeah.
And then it's cool.
Well, I've got my Jazzmaster, which I sent. It's a custom made neck by USA CG.
Okay.
USA Custom Guitars.
Yeah.
I had the neck made especially for it because it's a parts guitar.
Yeah, cool.
And I sent a measurement of a different neck that I really liked, and it came looking. It was a completely different neck, like completely different feel, but I love it.
Cool.
And I'm about to make another parts guitar,
yeah.
and I'm
Another
hoping they got
Jazzmaster.
another. Yeah, I've got flute. Well, the music at Noosa.
Yeah.
I should stop pointing that at you. Let's point it
That's
at him. The music at Noosa, where I sort of teach.
Yeah.
They a customer had an MJT body made, Jazzmaster body, and got them to do wiring for it and stuff. But something happened, and the body fell and got a bit dinged.
Ooh.
And the customer didn't want it, so they ordered another MJT body.
Yep.
And I said, well, what are you doing with the old body? Because it's kind of dinged in a good way.
Yeah.
It's not bad dings. It's actually dinged in places where it would get dinged.
Yeah.
So it's relict. So I said, well, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're just going to flog it off cheap. And I said, well, that's all the words I like to hear. Flog it off cheap. That sounds like me.
And Jazzmaster.
And
Yeah.
Jazzmaster.
Yeah.
It's like a translucent blue. It looks really cool. It's sort of a grey blue. It looks really good, actually. Because I saw it when I walked in, and I saw it sitting there. And I went, oh, that's a cool looking body. And they were working on the wiring, and that same afternoon I was teaching, and something happened and it fell. And I was like, oh, that's a shame.
My new guitar.
But yeah, I want to get exactly the same neck as the other one because I
Yeah.
absolutely love that neck. So I'm hoping they've still got those measurements.
Yeah.
Because I love that neck.
Or you just have to get it measured.
Yeah, well, I gave them measurements for a different neck. I measured it all where they said to measure it, and I gave them those measurements, and it's completely different to the original measurement. So if I give them the measurements of that neck, is it going to be completely different again? Or I don't know. But whatever they did it right because it's much fatter, and I really like it than
That's
the original
cool.
thing that I gave them.
Yeah, I don't know. This is probably like a medium fat neck, and it just feels perfect. It's the right thing.
Yeah.
Suits the guitar.
Yeah.
When I grow up and put like 13s on this or something for good tone.
What stringers do you use?
These are just 11 to 49
11 to
elixirs.
Cool.
Just the normal ones. I don't like the new coding one.
What are they called? The
OptiWeb.
OptiWeb, yeah.
They're cool, and I think that they suit some people, but I've just stuck to the originals.
I always liked the polywebs the best over nanos and everything. I've been a polyweb guy, and I'm really annoyed that they don't do a lot of the heavier because I use 12s.
Yeah.
They don't do a lot of the heavier gauge in polyweb.
Ah,
It's only nanoweb. And
that's
it
annoying.
annoys me. Which is why I don't use the strings anymore. So
Ah.
Elixir, tough.
Alright, so
There you go.
Let's keep going with this and then go to the actual podcast. So where does it go from there? It goes from
It goes to the big box Memory Man.
which is
So-
that's lovely.
This is a 90s reissue one that my great friend Chris Palmer, who I'm also using his cab, found for me because he knew that I loved Memory Mans, and he was like, "I've finally found you a good one."
Oh, cool.
And because this one has like a shorter, repeat rate than the others that I have, I kind of use it for slap back or like just a little bit of vibe, like whether it's a solo or just a little bit of ambience. So like. With it, and it's great.
They do have a sound that's
a
certain sound to them.
Sort of crank it up a little bit. It does have like a moderate sort of time on it.
Modulation on those just sounds so good.
And the preamp, if you take the delay like right out of the circuit and crank the pre, so this is kind of like unity.
Yeah, that does sound good.
Yeah.
Oh, we should mention actually too, because we were talking about that before we started filming. The volume pedal has a 15 dB boost in it as well.
Yeah, it does. And this Lely volume pedal changed my rig.
Okay.
This has awesome buffers in it.
Yeah.
But this buffer stoops them all.
So Germans makes a good buffer, yeah.
They do. They do. It's amazing. You can plug this into the front of anything. You could put like a shoe in front of it, or after it, and you would have the cleanest tone still, like it's amazing. So this is kind of like the unity sound on the bridge pickup, and then this is just hitting the front end of it. Cool. And then the other thing that I love it for is if I'm using my compressor, like, kick into it because it's in front and get more sustain. It's kind of like the more switch. I like it.
This goes to 11.
It does. That's how I get to 11 before I'm physically on 11. And then after that, I've got the Strum and Timeline in a loop. The reason I have so many delay pedals is because I really like delay pedals. That's about as far as I thought.
Yes.
They all sound different, and the concept was that large Memory Man could always be set to like a slap or a vibey thing. This Memory Man is kind of my main delay, I guess, and it's on an expression pedal, so I can just mix it in.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Timeline was for any preset stuff or like a tape or a digital delay or something wacky, so kind of got that set up for like a big tape. Does the Timeline thing, and I did try programming a freakishly large looper controller between the two, and it does work very well.
Okay.
But I had to sacrifice my MIDI cables to somebody who was going on tour.
Okay.
So when I get a chance, I'll make some more.
Yeah.
And then in loop 10, which is the last loop, is just the tap tempo Memory Man, just in case I want to preset it. And this is what it sounds like.
So in tone-wise, the between that one and the big box one, like, do you notice much of a difference?
Totally.
Yeah?
Absolutely. This big box one is really quacky in comparison to other big box Memory Mans.
Okay.
So it's got 3008 chips in it, so it's a 90s reissue.
Okay, yeah, that's okay.
And then this one,
It's a 3005.
yeah, 3005. It's a little bit scooped, like it can get a little bit washier quickly.
Yep.
So sometimes if I run an EQ in the loop, I'll make it a little bit quackier to reminisce what
the memory.
that's
Okay.
kind of doing.
Okay.
Or replicate. And yeah, but they are very cool together, and you can run them, you know, at the same time, like have a slap running and then bring something in, and you do have two different tones.
Oh, cool.
It doesn't get too wobbly. And then the last thing on my board is the Flint, and it's actually after the looper.
Okay, so it goes out of the looper into that.
Yeah. And I'm actually just using it for the reverb at the moment because, like a stooge, I actually dropped my pedal board and the Flint suffered the most.
Oh, no.
And I broke the intensity pot on that tremolo. But the trem at the end of the signal chain is very fun. If you put it on like a mid-intensity, the lowest speed, and the harmonic trem at the very end.
That's such a good sounding harmonic trem. I love it.
Yeah, but it's almost like you've got like this half uni vibe at the back of your signal chain, and everything gets sucked into it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. At the end of like a guitar solo, like suck the whole sound back.
Yeah.
Which is fun. But I guess like the main way I run this is whatever ambient stuff is going on will just, you know, depend on the room or what we're doing. But for the drive sounds, I can get like a little bit of drive out of the amp at this level. And then the RC is probably like the next step. And it's kind of just as if the amp was turned up louder.
So do you have your gains going the highest gain into the medium gain into the lowest gain?
Yeah.
That's what I do, and I don't find too many people that do that.
No.
But that's sort of what I do.
Well, I'm doing that at the moment, but it's only because of, if you think of like the drive pedals or even fuzz pedals in size, and then in their tonal preference, I've like, the fuzz face could be like a little mid scoop, so I'm trying to bring the mids up when I want to by using like the Jan Ray as a mid gain overdrive.
Okay, yeah.
And then because the Jan Ray sort of retains low end, like it doesn't lose low end like a Klon sometimes or a Tube Screamer, I've got the RC after that, so that little bit of hair that I get from the RC will add to the Jan Ray.
Well, see, I kind of think like that.
Yeah.
Whereas I think you tend to have your lower gains first going into your high gains, or that's what you tend to do, isn't it? And I'm talking to him.
I mean, I'm trying to remember now because I've changed it on my board quite drastically.
Because I know a lot of people when I say to them, because I tend to usually I've been there for years. I've had I use a box of rock. Basically, like you use the RC boosters just to make the amp sound like it's cranked at not cranked levels. And then they have the King of Tone going into it. And with that as well, I've got the higher gain going into the lower gain King of Tone, going into the lowest gain. So it's all one sound. You just get the tone doesn't change as drastically. That's sort of my idea behind it.
So that's the other thing. The Jan Ray is like my favourite overdrive pedal. And it's pretty much the main focus of my drive sounds, pretty much. So my idea is that I'm either pushing it or pulling it to retain that tone. So with the added boost on this volume pedal, it's awesome. So if I start like down here, fuzz sound, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And then bring like a little bit more gain. Kind of like a bluesy thing, and then a little bit more. So that's all just the Jan Ray on its own, and then you could be playing like. I can push it with the RC booster, but lower. It just feels more direct, like like an amp drive.
Yeah.
That's like, kind of like a hot roddy sort of
sounds
rock
great.
overdrive sound. And then when you talk about the fuzz, this is probably Unity for the fuzz. Which is cool, but like in my live uses, I can't use that all the time.
Yeah.
But I can use the Derek truck sound, with the fuzz going into the Jan Ray, and that's an awesome lead tone.
Sounds great, yeah.
At any level, and that's pretty much, if I want to freak people out. And it works really well.
Cool.
That's pretty much
Sounds
my board
great.
in a nutshell.
Should we get, just quickly, before we move on, just quickly talk about the amp as well? So the speaker is actually, if you've watched or listened to our podcast with Chris Palmer, that's actually his amp.
Yep.
But the amp is not being
mention.
used, it's just the speaker being used at the moment. With
Yeah.
that comet, or the speakers with this comet head.
Yeah.
It sounds rather lovely.
It's the Comet 29. It's a freaky little amp that my buddy Scott Salmon from Nautilus Effect Systems in Canberra put me onto.
Okay.
He bought up the 19, which is the same size and pretty much weighs the same, but it's got 2 less power tubes, and it's basically the greatest rock and roll amp ever.
Okay.
It can be clean, but it's sort of like a bluesy clean, realistically. But as it dirties up, between 3 controls and a bright switch, you could go from like a cranked tiny little combo sort of sound to you feel like you're playing through a wall of Marshalls.
Okay.
And then this amp is sort of like if that amp started earlier, like it started cleaner, and you can get there. So we've kind of got it at like a pretty tame level at the moment, but it is a masterful piece of gear, and I can't wait.
Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I have
Swampy.
an ambi cab on the way to go with it,
Okay.
which is a 212 cab that has 2 neodymium 10s in the top of it,
Okay.
and a digital power amp in the back of it
Oh, cool.
with an effects loop. So the input drives both sides. The bottom is passive, and the amp just does that. And then your
Okay.
wet effects go into the effects loop, and you can do stereo wet, dry, wet in one cab.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's interesting. That's
Nice.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the aim. That's the goal.
Is it physically big cab?
Well, no. I had a Bogner cab, which is sort of the same size as this on its other axis, and it's pretty much the same size.
Sure.
Okay.
And this one you can do open or closed back.
Okay.
It's got like a removable panel.
Okay.
And it's not even that heavy. It's very usable.
Well, I think we need a part 2 when that arrives.
Yeah, it's almost a video in itself, and once you really crank it, it honestly is a great gain amp, not just a clean amp, and that's what's quite amazing about it.
Cool.
But I think that's all I'll be using for the next long while.
Until
That's
the next.
great, man.
Yeah,
The next
until
thing
the
you want
next
to buy
thing.
comes in.
But you know,
That's really
I've got to convince myself in my head that it was the right decision.
cool. And for at least this year, it'll be
Yeah.
all I'll be using.
Ain't that
Most
tax, man?
likely.
Very cool,
Yeah.
man.
Well, on that note,
That's
I
about it.
reckon let's if you want to find out more about Jack and the stuff he does, and if you look at the pedal board, he makes possibly the neatest pedal
Yeah.
boards you'll ever see in your entire life.
Could we check out the bottom?
Can we quickly
Yeah,
check
yeah.
out Alex's just in comparison? So this is a not very neat pedal
That's
board.
rude.
Yeah.
Mind you, mine's not finished. It also hasn't been finished for about 2 months, but
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah, this one's not done.
Oh well, now you're looking
Well,
bad.
that's got the point. Is it ever done?
Oh, look, all the pedals stay on when you turn it over. That never happens to me.
How do you do that?
Wow, look at that.
It's witchcraft.
It's witchcraft. It is. Look at that. Talk about neat. I've never seen anyone do neater pedal boards
It's like a
than
circuit
Jack.
board. Hey, hang on.
Hey.
What's this?
That,
Oh,
it's so that I can move my expression pedal.
Oh, no, oh,
Sometimes
no.
I use it up on the top.
Is it a
Oh.
handle?
Yeah. I just pick it up like this, and I actually attach my ponytail to it,
Oh,
and I
cool.
just drag it along. Yeah,
To make it easier to carry.
So-
yeah.
Well, on that note, if you want to find out more about Jack, listen to our podcast.
Yep.
Thank you.
And also, I'm sure we'll put links to your Facebook page.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Do you have a
cheers.
website too?
I do.
Your website.
JH Productions?
Yeah, JackHudsonProductions.com.
Okay, cool.
Just because I couldn't make the URL any bigger.
Yeah, well, if we ever have a website, just forget about that.
Thanks, guys. Our podcast with Jack's going to be up on our podcast, which is on Stitcher.
iTunes, Podbean, and
Podbean,
SoundCloud,
SoundCloud.
and possibly on Spotify soon
Possibly
too,
slot, yeah.
and
So,
other places.
It's the super fun, awesome, happy time pedal show podcast, which is longer than your website.
Yes.
And
I feel better now.
yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna,
if there's, we will always be longer and dumber than any other name, so don't worry.
I do like it though.
yeah.
Ah,
Let's go.
gimbal. Sorry, gimbal issues. Never happened,
Okay.
darling. Never happened before.
Thanks for hanging out.
Cheers. Thanks for having us.
All right.
Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.
Bye.